Welcome home to St. Anne's, a place of community, love, and faith. No matter who you are or where you are in your spiritual journey, there's a place for you at Christ's
Well,
table.
this is one of those days.
Join us Sundays at 10 a.m. or anytime online. We look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, that's not the Christianity that we tell people about, is it? Like, well, sacrifice everything, give up everything. It's a really tough gospel, right? And I always laugh when people are like, well, we need Christianity back in the classroom and back in the world, and so we're going to post the 10 Commandments. And I'm like, if you want Christianity back in the world, you're going to post the Beatitudes, because that's actually who Jesus calls us to be. But nobody wants that. Have you read this book? It's terrible. It does not sell well at all. Really, Christianity don't preach. But we're going to talk about it anyway, because that's actually who and what we are called to be. And it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. So I do want us to talk about it. But I also want us to talk about the fact that it is All Saints' Day. And All Saints' Day is an incredibly important time for us. And I realized yesterday that All Saints' Day becomes more and more powerful for me every year. And that is because I realize more and more that I'm a conglomeration of the people who have gone before. And there's a core kernel of me that is me, but then there's all these other things that have, all these other people who have impacted me and formed me into who I am today. And I think that's important for us to reflect on. And I was walking by our Dia de los Muertos altar as I was, coming in here late, as I always do. It's fine. We're on God's time. We're not on, it's fine. God will show up whenever we show up. But every year I reflect on who is not in these seats right now, but who is gathered around the table with us every Sunday. And that's an important thing to reflect on, I think, for all of us, because we feel like the chairs are empty, and yet the reality is our altar is more full. Does that make sense at all? And I just think about, because I've been here for 13 years now? I don't know, something like that. More than any of us care to reflect on. And there have been so many saints in here who have made us who we are, and continue to form us into who we are. And on this day is a day when we reflect on that. And I think that's incredibly powerful. So I think one of the things that I want us to do today is reflect on who is here with you in your own life, because you are not who you are in and of yourself. None of us are. None of us are these things that, none of us are Athena popped out of the head of Zeus, fully formed and created, right? Did you think I was going to go to Greek mythology today in church? No, you didn't. But I'm just telling you, after the Beatitudes, Greek mythology looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Because nowhere in there are they like, give up everything. They're not. But we are generations of people who have led to this moment and this point in time. And that's important for us to remember. The church did not erupt fully formed. And I think that's one of the powers of the Episcopal Church and even mainline Christianity is we realize that, right? We realize that there are thousands, hundreds of years that led to this moment. We are generations and generations of brilliant minds and less than brilliant minds, but loving, creating, building who we are today. And that's important for us to take time to reflect on that. I was joking the other day, and I was like, when you're a little kid, you're afraid of ghosts, right? You're afraid. And now as an adult, I would give anything for some of these people to be back. I want these ghosts, right? But here's my challenge to us. They are here. When we gather around the table, when we gather around the altar, we are not alone. All those clouds of witnesses gather with us. And that's incredibly powerful. And I will tell you to this day, I've been ordained longer than we care to admit. 2009? A while. To this day, there is not a time that I stand behind the altar that I do not get goosebumps. I do. Because I know that in that moment, all of this makes sense. Because most of the time it doesn't. It seems completely bizarre and ridiculous, doesn't it? Think about what we claim. Think about it. It's absurd. But in that moment, when all of the past, present, future, yet to come are gathered together in the body of Christ, it makes sense. And we are a part of that. When we come to the term saints, actually in the Bible, I know a lot of us are kind of used to the Roman Catholic saints, that there are these people who are uniquely different and set aside, and that God gave them some sort of magical powers or something, I don't know. But really that's not the term saints at all. The saints are anybody who is trying to wrestle with being a follower of Christ or a follower of God. Anybody. So, surprise, you're a saint. Congratulations, many blessings on your journey of sainthood. But it's the fact that we all wrestle with it, that we struggle and we strive to do it, even though it's impossible. It's an impossible task, what you and I are called to do. It is. And that's why we have generations of people before us, and the folks that we surround ourselves with today, and the people who are yet to come, who will continue to wrestle and strive to do the things that we are called to do. And that's why the Beatitudes can exist, because they are ridiculous and impossible. They are. I'm not going to tell you that they're not. And yet we are called to wrestle with them and to strive for that anyway, even in the face of its impossible call. Jesus is the king of the reframe. And you're like, what? What does that even mean? Okay, and here's the thing. Jesus knows that what we are called to is impossible. And you and I know that what Christianity is called to right now in the human condition is an impossible thing, especially right now. Does it feel really painful and hard? Because you and I, if we're paying attention, we know that while we might not be struggling, or sometimes it feels like we're struggling, but we know that there are those who are struggling with things far beyond what you and I can even fathom. There are people right now, and I'll use some examples. Many of you know that during the week I'm a school counselor in another town. And there are kids who are struggling, who are very, very hungry. Already, the government shutdown has resulted in a lot of folks losing income. And I have kids who were kind of on the edge of things to begin with. But when the shutdown occurred, that meant things like disability and things like that just dried up, and that didn't exist. So people who are already struggling to feed their families now are struggling even more. And their kids are hungry, and they don't have access to things. And there are people in this congregation who are currently struggling right now because income has dried up. They're still working, mind you, but there's no income. And that's a tough thing for me to see, because I know for me, who is an affluent, white, middle-class person, I know when I do my grocery order, I go through what I need, and then I go through that list again, and I say, what can we do without this week? And I know if I'm doing that, I know for sure other people are making decisions that are way harder than the ones that I'm making. And you and I all know that. So what does it mean to be a Christian right now? What does it mean to follow the Beatitudes? It is the ultimate in the reframe, because sometimes it gets so overwhelming and so big that you just want to run away from it, don't you? Or you want to feel angry, right? We want to hate because it's crippling in the reality. It is, and I am here to tell you, it can be crippling. The reality of life can be crippling. When you are struggling with a diagnosis, it can be crippling in its reality. When you are struggling with the relationship of a loved one, it can be crippling in its reality. You don't know how to move forward. And the easiest thing to do would be to reject it, to step away, to deny it, all of those things. And yet in the Beatitudes, and Jesus comes to us again and again and says, reframe. Reframe, keep going. If you are hungry now, there is promise. If you are scared now, there is promise. If you don't know what to do and you're overwhelmed and you want to run away, don't. Keep going. That is the message of the Beatitudes. And frankly, that is the message of the saints who have come before us. How many folks in your life said, keep going? I'll use my dad as an example. One day, and I would never have a struggle in this congregation, so please, it was not here. But, because there's never, this is perfection embodied, y'all. But I was having a struggle in a previous congregation. And I was just done because I didn't know how to move forward. And my dad was the person that I talked to, right? We all have that person that you're like, they just listen, right? They don't fix it for you. They don't do, and we all have that person. We all should be that person to somebody. Anyway, so I was on the phone with my dad, and bleh, right, word vomit, bleh. And my dad's like, okay. And probably in the back of his mind being like, oh my God, she's overreacting. But he didn't say that out loud. And I finally get to the end of it. And I said, it's nothing that prayer and chocolate won't fix. And he says, and probably a stiff dose of gin too. But I think we all need that, right? Because we all need to hear the reframe of like, we got this. We got this. And the Beatitudes are Jesus saying, I know it's hard, and I know you're being expected impossible things. You can do this. You got this. Reframe it. We are in a season of life that is incredibly difficult. Be it you have a diagnosis that is incredibly difficult and impossible to deal with. You have a loved one who is suffering things that you cannot even fathom. You are struggling with a relationship and you just want to run away from it. Whatever it is, you're watching people go through things that you cannot comprehend. You are going through things that the rest of us cannot comprehend. Whatever it is, keep going. It is a season in time. It is a season. And Jesus comes to us and God comes to us again and again and again and says, it is a season. Do not give up because more is coming. This is not it. Does it feel like it's it? Absolutely. Have you ever been in a situation before that feels like that's it? And yet you're here, aren't you? That season changed. And guess what? The season is going to change. It is. Now, I am not here to tell you it's going to be easy, but I am telling you that there's something else. There is more to come. And someday, we will continue to all gather at that altar. And it will be amazing, and we'll understand it a little bit differently. But until then, keep going.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet